last week, November 18th, Fay Wells wrote a piece that was in the Washington Post that really, it was really extraordinary. She's talking about, she's an African-American woman who lives in Santa Monica, California. On September 6th, I locked myself out of my apartment in Santa Monica. I was in a rush to get to my weekly soccer game, so I had decided to go enjoy the game and deal with the lock afterward. A few hours later, and a visit from a locksmith later, I was inside of my apartment, slipping off my shoes, when I heard a man's voice and what sounded like a small dog whimpering outside near my front window. I imagined a loiterer and opened the door to move him along. I was surprised to see a large dog halfway up the staircase to my door. I stepped back inside, closed the door, and locked it. Man at the bottom of the stairs had a gun and was pointing it at me. I stepped back and heard, "Come outside with your hands up." I thought, this guy has a gun and will kill me if I don't come outside. At the same time, I thought, I've heard this line from policemen in movies. Although he didn't identify himself, perhaps he's an officer. I left my apartment in my socks, shorts, and a light jacket, my hands in the air. "What's going on?" I asked. 2 police officers had guns trained on me. They shouted, "Who's in there with you? How many of you there are you?" It was only me. And anyhow, she goes on through this, an African-American woman. Somebody called in, thought that she was breaking into her apartment, which she was, her apartment, with a locksmith. And, she talks about how just astoundingly traumatized this was. Later, I learned that the Santa Monica Police Department had dispatched 19 officers after one of my neighbors reported a burglary at my apartment. It didn't matter that I told the cops I'd lived there for 7 months, told them about the locksmith, offered to show a receipt for his services and my ID. It didn't matter that I went to Duke University, that I had a master's in business administration from Dartmouth, that I'm a vice president of strategy at a large multinational corporation. It didn't matter that I've never had as much as a speeding ticket. It didn't matter that I calmly, continuously asked them what was happening. It didn't matter that I didn't match the description of the person they were looking for. My neighbor described me as Hispanic when he called 911. What mattered was that I was a woman of color trying to get into an apartment in an almost entirely white complex in a mostly white city, and a white man who lived in another building called the cops because he'd never seen me before. The cops went through and cleared her apartment. I demanded all their names and was given few. Some officers simply ignored me, and when I asked, boldly turned and walked away. Afterwards, I saw them talking to neighbors, but they ignored me when I approached them again. I mean, it's just an amazing piece. It's called "My White Neighbor Thought I Was Breaking Into My Own Apartment. 19 Cops Showed Up. The Place I Call Home No Longer Feels Safe" by Fay Wells. This is the everyday experience, not literally experienced every day, but potentially every day, knowing that every day this could be your experience. Walking down the street, bumping into somebody the wrong way. I was flying home from Los Angeles yesterday, or it was the day before yesterday, actually. I got home quite late Saturday night. And I was standing in line. You know how you stand in line waiting to board the plane? And I have a roller bag, suitcase with rolly wheels and a arm on it. And I was dragging it behind me. And I was in the line, and I literally had not looked behind me to see who was in the line behind me. I didn't, I was in the line, and I noticed that people, as they get close to boarding, people kind of tighten up toward the front of the line, and I'd had my bag behind me, and so I reached around and grabbed my bag behind me and pulled it up beside me to kind of tighten the line up, and the guy standing behind me was an African American, and the look on his face, I could, you just get that look like, what? Do you think I was going to mess with your bag? I mean, it wasn't an upset or angry. It was a hurt. And I wanted to say, I didn't even know you were a person of color, and my moving the bag had nothing to do. But how do you, people who so constantly experience these kind of microaggressions, who so constantly who live in literally continual fear, may be too strong a word, but I doubt it. I mean, being white, I have no experience of this. I'm developing some empathy for it, I think, but no experience. It's just, we've got serious work to do in this country.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.